It's time for the Pittsburgh Sports Reporters, an inside look at your teams in your city.
Welcome to the Pittsburgh Sports Reporters. I'm David Todd of 970 ESPN, and I'm joined by Tim Benz of 105.9 The X and Stan Savran of 970 ESPN. Stan is the senior spokesman of the group. I'm going to let you decide. You want to start with the good or the bad?
If you find the good, I'll start with it. I didn't see much.
Well,
so.
I'm going to start with the good with the Pirates.
Okay,
we're going to start with
historically good or historically bad.
Of course, you can see Stan on the Root Sports pregame show. Unfortunately, Root Sports doesn't have the postseason games.
Out. That's just the way it works. Same thing in hockey. Although in hockey you get local broadcasters get one playoff round. Baseball, it's all network from this point on. So I'm just an interested and casual observer.
Stan, people look at the Pirates' 94 wins. I think across the board it's been a great season. They have this one-game playoff. There's some people out there who feel like this isn't the playoffs, and if the Pirates don't win this game, the season's not successful. I'm sure you don't hold that view, but what will your view be if they happen to lose the game Tuesday night?
It won't taint the season. That's the nature of the one-game playoff. I mean, I don't like it structurally. I think it ought to be a best of three. I think all series after this one ought to be best of seven. But even though Bud Selig's stepping down, he didn't appoint me as successor. If they lose the game, it'll be disappointing. But after you get over the disappointment of that, because I do think that they would have a great chance against the Cardinals. I think their starting pitching is better than the Cardinals. I think their starting pitching is better than the Braves. I don't know about the Dodgers because the Dodgers go Kershaw, Greinke, 1-2, and in a 7-game series, that means an awful lot. That'll be disappointing because I think they can go a distance, but it won't taint or tarnish the season for me if they happen to lose tomorrow night.
Tim, two things. One, they swept the Reds. They won the games that mattered Friday and Saturday. They win the game that doesn't matter on Sunday. A, is there any impact on Tuesday in what happened this weekend? And B, what do you think of the pitching matchup, Liriano versus Cueto? Obviously, Liriano's been great at home, but Cueto's been great against the Pirates.
Yeah, I don't think there's momentum that carries over to this game. I think it's about what you just said there. If Cueto is lights out and beats the Pirates, then that's it. If Francisco Liriano does what he normally does at home and takes out the Reds, then that'll be it in a positive direction. But I don't think there's much carryover per se. The matchup is great, and something's got to give with Francisco, I suppose, because he's been bad against the Reds, but he's been great at home. And I don't know what yields first. My gut is telling me it's that he's going to be good at home. I just have a feeling the Pirates are going to win and then get into that series against the Cardinals. We'll see if anything bad happens in this one wild card game before I get too bold after that, and we'll see how the rotation shakes out. But I'm with Stan on this. I really do like their chances against St. Louis, much more than I think I should. But
well, probably
I
so.
feel like they've got a chance against St. Louis. I don't necessarily like the matchups against either of the two remaining teams that would come out from the other side in L.A. or Atlanta, but I think they got a shot against the Cardinals if they beat the Reds.
Yeah, I do too. I just wanted to say that Cueto has been dominant against the Pirates, but this is a different lineup. Doesn't guarantee anything, but it gives him a better chance. This lineup is lengthier. It's more difficult to pitch against. The one thing, people said, well, he can only go 5. He's been dominant since he came back, although he pitched against the Mets and he pitched against the Astros.
Let me ask you this, Stan. This is a game where it's for all the marbles. It's essentially the 7th game of the World Series. You've got arrested Garrett Cole. There is a school of thought out there. Francisco Liriano has been so good against left-handers, but he hasn't been good, as most pitchers aren't, third time through the lineup. If Francisco Liriano is rolling through the lineup and he gets through the Chu, Votto, Bruce in, say, the 4th inning and goes 5 innings, would you actually consider turning to Garrett Cole or turning to Justin Wilson or Tony Watson to play matchups early in this game and manage it much more aggressively than you might a normal regular season game?
I would definitely manage it much more aggressively than I would some game in June, but that's not to say that I would automatically take out Liriano. I think it depends on the game score. I think, sometimes he dances through the raindrops. Maybe he's given up 6 hits and 3 walks, but managed to keep it to a game. A 1-run that he's given up. Also consider what the score is. Are the Pirates up 5-1? The answer to your question, David, no, I'm not taking him out unless he starts getting into trouble. Now, I do have a quick hook with him, but at that point, if he can get him into the 6th, I'm not going to Garrett Cole. I mean, one of the strengths of their team, and I think better than the Reds, outside of the closer issue, is that they can go to the middle inning guy. At that point, I turn it over to them.
Well, yeah, there's the other side of that coin, too, David. If you're going to think about it that much, that, well, gee, historically, Francisco Liriano isn't that great the third time through the lineup against right-handers. Well, gee, when Garrett Cole isn't pitching great, it's because he gets off to a slow start in the first inning. So that's got to come into play, too, because Garrett has not been great in the first inning of games, too. And now you're putting him in a situation where the first is the fifth, right?
And he's not used to that. I mean, I'm going to my middle inning guys, and again, it depends.
Whoever it may be, Gomez, Watson, Wilson, whoever it may be.
Yeah, depending on the matchups. And again, if Liriano's been struggling but has kept the runs down, then I'm more apt to pull a quick hook. But if he's sailing, I'm not going to automatically say, okay, well, usually he gives up hits the third time. I'm going to wait and see what happens.
My concern was Clint on Saturday with Charlie Morton on the hill, having given up 10 guys on base through 4 innings, and seeing the left-handers come up again for the third time. It was clear to me that he shouldn't have gone out there, and it was a game that I think Clint should have managed like the same way he should manage on Tuesday. He didn't do it, so that's just my concern as we look forward to what might happen in this game. Playoff roster is going to be an issue, Tim. Borderline guys, I don't know that A.J. Burnett or Charlie Morton will be on this roster for the game Tuesday. That gives you more opportunity to maybe carry an extra left-hander, carry an extra bench player. Is there any one guy in particular of the group, maybe the 3 catchers? Do you take an extra catcher? Do you take a guy like Chris Johnson, who's an extra left-hander?
Oh, I would go with
I
would go the next PA would probably be the guy that I would think before any of the other guys that you just referenced. I would think that you could get away with putting those 2 guys on hold with Charlie Morton and A.J. Burnett. I would hope that you're not going to have to get that deep into your bullpen that you're going to have to go with that many guys. I know what you're saying, but, I mean, we're thinking way down the line here.
Who's your backup catcher?
My backup catcher? Well, the starting catcher might be Tony Sanchez, right?
I don't think he will. I think he'll go with Russell Martin. I know because he's
the
caught him. The
personal catcher thing.
But you know what? Tony Sanchez was in the minor leagues when Francisco Liriano was pitching great to Russell Martin. I think you've got to go with Russell Martin.
I would go with Sanchez. Is Sanchez your backup?
Yeah.
I would go with Sanchez as the number 2
because I think he's a better bat off the bench. I would prefer. I wouldn't add an extra pitcher. It's one. You got plenty of guys as it's structured now. I would like to see them put
Garrett
Jones, definitely.
Snyder.
Travis Snyder. I want that extra left-handed bat. You've already got Tabata as a 4th outfielder. Right-handed bat with Sanchez, which might lead you to want to keep the 3rd catcher.
So
you got Gabby Sanchez as a right-handed bat.
You can play third base now, as we learned, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Well, he didn't spring training.
If he can play left tackle, get him to London.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Then we can call him Grabby Sanchez.
Mike Adams should have tried that a little bit more.
Let's get to the Steelers, Tim. 34-27. Again, they fall behind early. Dick LeBeau's defense is predicated on 3 things: stopping the run, tackling the catch, and not giving up the big plays. F in all 3 areas. 3 plays over 50 yards, I think the first time since 1999. What do you, this one to me is squarely on the defense. What do you walk away from with an 0-4 team here?
Reality. I don't think you can couch it. I don't think there's anything else to parse. I don't think there's anything else to put off into the distance. I've been saying the whole time, David, that I didn't think that the Tennessee home loss was an anomaly to start the season. I didn't think 0-4 in the preseason was an anomaly. I didn't think finishing up 2-5 last year was an anomaly. This is what they are. They are a bottom 3rd NFL team at best, if not a bottom 5 in the league right now.
Yeah, I think it was just a bad last week against the Bears. Was it a bad performance or just a bad team playing the way they're going to play? I don't see room for a whole lot of improvement with them based on the personnel. People talk, well, what do you do now? Well, what do you do now? You've only got 53 guys to choose from. I do not buy, however, one thing. Well, we couldn't yank Adams because of Foster got hurt. That happened after a while, but they had ample opportunity before Foster got hurt to put Beachum in at left tackle.
It speaks volumes about Guy Whimper, doesn't it?
Well, absolutely. Out with a bang in with a whimper with him. Everybody thought Matt Williamson, the guy we talked to, told me when they signed him, he stinks. He's terrible. You wouldn't put him in under dire circumstances. The other thing is, too, I think that, frankly, the offensive coaches deserve a big X for their performance yesterday. And you're right, it's on the defense. But I did not see many, if any, occasions where they gave Adams any help over there. I'm thinking going to the game, this is a recipe for disaster. He can't handle him. There's no way. Not many guys can handle Jared Allen one-on-one. I did not see a back over there. I didn't see keeping a tight end over there to help chip the guy. It was a mismatch. What's his name? Shannon Sharp, whichever one of those Sharp brothers is on CBS, said, what was he doing, bending over to tie his shoes? It was awful.
Well, the thing of it is, to your point about not giving him any help, when they got it wrong on the play before Roethlisberger got strip sacked, the second down after the grounding,
we had to throw it through the uprights, right?
He and Beachum both took the same guy on the inside, and there was no one to block Allen. There was no tight end. There was no back. Was the back on the other side? Was Bell on the other side, I think, blocking the right side? I don't know why that was the case, but like Stan said, why at that point, when that guy's been eating you alive, would you not have the help there? Not like Le'Veon Bell would have done anything, but maybe would have slowed him down, chipped him, given Roethlisberger a chance to roll to the right or roll away or something.
Do you feel better overall about the offense with Heath back the last 2 weeks, 50 points after 19, and the first 2 weeks, and Le'Veon Bell in there? He did show some flashes of things we haven't seen out of a Steeler.
Yeah, the offense looked a little better, but when if you've got 11 guys in the field and 5 of them aren't very good, and those 5 guys set up what the other 6 do, then you still got big problems.
I absolutely do not feel better about it because a lot of that, if you have to throw the football 51 times, you lose.
Tell me, what do you grade Ben's performance for me?
C-. I understand he's under siege, but he's also, and I don't blame him for the last fumble. He's just looking to get rid of the thing. I thought one of the plays that the game hinged on, and I'm not a believer in blaming play calling because you never credit a play call when it works, but I thought 2nd and goal from the 3-yard line, they threw a fade to Heath Miller. And they settle for a field goal. That's awful. Maybe I upgrade Ben to a C, but still too many careless interceptions. But he is under siege. I get that, but I do not feel any better because a lot of that yardage, a lot of those points comes back. You're down 3 touchdowns, so naturally you have to throw the ball. No.
Tim, your thoughts on Ben's performance?
I was a little bit higher than Stan, like a C+. But not very much higher because, some of those sacks now, it's getting back to where the sacks are being on Ben for holding on to the ball too much.
Couple times, no doubt.
Yep.
I think the last 2 weeks that's been the case. The first 2 weeks, maybe not so much. I think that was pretty much on the offensive line. But the last 2 weeks, there have been a couple of these Ben holding on to the ball too long moments, and he's got to be responsible for that.
Yeah, I didn't think Ben was very good the last 2 weeks. I thought he was very good yesterday. I thought he single-handedly kept him in the game. You're right about what he had to do in terms of what the stats look like. But,
let's remember who they were playing against, too.
No question.
They're awful. They stink. The weakest part of their team with a backup quarterback who also stinks. But the big issue is that the weakest part of Minnesota's team was their secondary. Everybody's torched them. Brian Hoyer torched them. And so the fact that the Steelers piled up all the yardage was a product of the fact that Minnesota's bad defensively, at least in terms of their secondary, and secondly, overall they were behind and had to throw.
Yeah, and they got to
Brian Hoyer
they got to convert in the red zone.
Cincinnati secondary.
And I'll tell you, I guess if there's one silver lining, it's everybody in the division's 2-2. 4 weeks in, they're only 2 games out of first, and they get to play them again.
That's the sad part of it. The sad part of it is that they were just mediocre. They'd be right there.
That's going to wrap up this week's edition of the Pittsburgh Sports Reporters. Tim Benz of the X Morning Show, Stan Savard, and David Todd of 970 ESPN. Thanks for watching.